SpaceX Starlink has a brand new, cheaper plan. Is this something that might be right for you? Let's go check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of dark temptation. So good, so good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a technology day. We're going to be talking about the brand new SpaceX Starlink plan. Kind of interesting. This is something that we've been looking for many, many months, actually years. A lot of people have said that SpaceX Starlink is just simply too expensive for who it is directed to. It's basically for rural folks, people that are in the country, that are not in the city. And usually we are not making as much as the people in the city, according to what the government says. So anyways, we're looking into a cheaper plan, and is this available? Now we know that SpaceX Starlink has done this once before. We'll talk about that in just a second, but this plan is going to be only for people in New Zealand. Now, Starlink has done this in the past. They test out in different markets and then they bring it into other markets. I was reading about this on 4 or 5 different rags, different magazines, online magazines, and I found that the PC Magazine version was really short and condensed. So I want to read some of that to you and then give you my commentary as I always do. And then after, down below in the comment area, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this? Before we get into it, I want to say that if you enjoyed this content, even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. That'll be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not. If you are, thank you. I appreciate that. Click this little button over here so when I go live and when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a little button down here. You can click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, they are free just for you being here. Go to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. And if you want more content like this, I put together about 245, I think, almost 250 videos just on SpaceX Starlink. Helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to buy, what not to buy, why, and everything in between. This channel is always about the why, not just the how, but the why. I think that's very important. Anyways, now that all the housekeeping is done, let's get into this article. It starts out by saying, want Starlink at a lower price? Yeah, we do. In New Zealand, SpaceX is offering customers a 50% discount on the monthly payment for the satellite internet system in exchange for slower speeds. This is very important. Keep that in mind, slower speeds. I'll get into that in just a second. A user on Reddit spotted SpaceX offering the new deprioritized plan for residential customers in the country. Deprioritized is important. I'll get into that in just a second. The option appears when you sign up for service on Starlink.com. Now, bear in mind, Starlink.com in New Zealand is going to be different than Starlink.com here in the US. So if you check now and you're located in the US, you're not going to see it. Now, you could always use, like what I do, a VPN. I'm using Pure VPN as well as Speedify. You can go and take a look at matter of fact, I have a discount. I always forget to tell you guys about it. If you go to JCristina.com/VPN or JCristina.com/speed, you're going to get 15-20% off either one of those VPN services that I currently use. Anyways, if you use a VPN, you could set your server for New Zealand, and then when you log into Starlink.com, it's going to think that you're located in New Zealand, and it'll give you this information. Just so you know, little back-end way to check this out. Users can pay New Zealand money of $159 or converted to US $97 for the standard plan, or $48 or New Zealand money $79 for the deprioritized access. So basically what they're saying here is it's half price. So instead of $100, you're going to be paying $50. That's US money. The cheaper plan has no data or speed caps, but users can expect, quote, 50 to 100 megabits download speeds in comparison to 150 to 250 megabits download speeds for the standard service plan. Now, bear in mind, Those speeds are New Zealand speeds, okay? Those are based on what the folks in New Zealand are seeing as far as speeds. We do not get that here in the US, or not the majority of us do. I've been seeing some really quick speeds lately, and I showed you in my last video. Matter of fact, I did a speed test this morning, and I was getting around 200 megabits down and about 17 megabits up, which isn't really bad. I would like to see the up speed come up, pardon the pun, but what are we going to do? Hopefully it does. We need to see that 20 megabits up or higher so the FCC says, hey, yeah, you are broadband. Anyways, that's for a whole nother video. SpaceX says standard service will be prioritized over deprioritized service during peak hours. Remember, you're paying half price, so you're going to be deprioritized over the priority people that are paying more. This means that speeds will be slower for deprioritized service relative to the standard Starlink service, especially when there's more users on the network. Makes sense. The company might be offering the plan because it has plenty of capacity in New Zealand. According to Starlink.com, the country has the fastest download speeds, averaging between 158 megabits down to 266 megabits down. That is an amazing, amazing speed variation. 150 to like 270. That's awesome. In comparison to the download speeds in the US are generally lower, spanning from 38 megabits to 104 megabits down, particularly in the southern states. Now, I'm in the southern states. I never saw these numbers before. 38 megabits down, 104 megabits down. Yeah, maybe 100 megabits down when it was at its slowest point, but 38, take everything that you read with a grain of salt and what you hear. SpaceX didn't immediately respond to a request for comment, making it unclear if it will be bringing the deprioritized plan to North America. In general, SpaceX has refrained from offering discounts on Starlink within the US, although last year it did decrease the subscription fee for US customers living in, quote, areas with excess capacity. And I did a whole video on that. There's certain states where there's not a lot of people using SpaceX Starlink that their fee went from $110 down to like $90, where everyone else's fee popped up to $120 per month. Once again, it's based on how many people are using it in the area. If those satellites are dormant, they're not doing anything, you might as well charge less and at least get a couple of bucks for them flying by, right? It just simply makes sense. The article finalizes with this. Instead, the company has often been spotted offering deals on satellite internet service in other markets, such as Europe and Latin America, which appears to have less demand. In New Zealand, SpaceX is offering customers the option of buying refurbished Starlink kits for half price of the original cost. So this is important too. Not only are you able to get half price on your service, but you can also get half price on your kit. Now, the caveat here is the kit that you can buy in New Zealand is not the same kits that are available here in the US. In the US, they have the version 4 available that just has that kickstand. It doesn't have that fully actuated dish where it can spin around 360 and it has the motors in it. In New Zealand, they can only get the version 2 or the version that has the motors built in. So they can buy the brand new kit, which would be $400 New Zealand, which would be the equivalent of like 243 bucks US, or half price to the 400, which would be 199 New Zealand, which would be $121 US. One is refurbished, one is brand new. It's up to you. I like the half price option. And the reason being is SpaceX Starlink stands behind all of their hardware. So it doesn't matter if you have a refurbished version or if you have a brand new version. If there's a problem, they're going to stand behind it. They're going to send you a new one. That's the way it has always been. I've never heard from anyone after doing this for 28 months. I never heard from anyone that SpaceX Starlink wouldn't send them either a refurbished kit or a brand new kit. free of charge if there was a problem with the first one, or there was a problem with the one that they're currently using. So that's really good. Also, you have the half price not only on the kit, but you have half price now on the service. You can get standard service or deprioritized service, and that's completely up to you. So the standard service would cost $159 per month, New Zealand money, or let's call it $100, $97. Or half price to that would be $48 US, or $79 New Zealand money, however you want to look at it. So half price if you don't mind having deprioritized service. Now, once again, the speeds in New Zealand are off the chain, literally bumping up to close to 300 megabits down. So even if you get deprioritized service, it's probably not going to happen very often because there is not that many people using it in the country. So it's probably not a bad idea to not only get a deprioritized service, but also get the refurbished kit. And you can get into SpaceX Starlink extremely cheap. Let's say $100 US for your kit, and then $50 per month, $47, something like that per month. This is in US money. That is it. That is cheap for what you're getting. Now, if you want the full-blown thing, you can get it if you want. Now, in the US, which obviously we don't see in New Zealand, we now do have that version 4 dish that I was talking to you about. That does not have the motors built in, the actuators to spin it 360 and tilt it automatically. It doesn't have that. It basically is just a kickstand. You pop it out, you sit it down, that's it. You move it left and right, and you call it a day. They don't have that in New Zealand. And when you will get it, I don't know. Once again, they do a lot of the testing of the new product here in the US, and then they send it overseas after testing it. It probably has to do with the manufacturing plants are really close here in the US to anyone, and it doesn't cost them a lot of money to switch out hardware. Whereas if you're sending over to New Zealand or Germany or anywhere in Europe, that can get to be expensive if you're having problems. Now, what exactly is this deprioritized anyways? Now, they say exactly what it is on their website. This is what it says. Now, this is, once again, you can go over to their website, starlink.com, but make sure you're logged in through a New Zealand server, and you'll be able to see this too. It says Starlink's deprioritized service is a more affordable service plan that is designed for personal, family, and household use at a fixed or land-based location at a valid location or address in New Zealand. Users will have an unlimited amount of standard data each month with no long-term contracts or commitments similar to SpaceX Starlink's standard service plan. Once again, this is the deprioritized plan. The service plan will be deprioritized over the standard service during peak hours. This means that speeds may be slower for deprioritized service related to standard service when the network has the most users online. Obviously, when there is any type of congestion, deprioritized users are going to get deprioritized data. It finalizes with a couple of bullets. There are no data caps. There are no speed caps. Speed should range between 50 to 100 megabits in comparison to 150 to 250 megabits down. Those speeds are going to be a lot faster than our speeds here in the US. You may upgrade to the standard Starlink service at any time. Mobility or in motion or marine on the ocean use is not allowed. Pause service feature is not supported. Bear that in mind. You cannot pause your service if you're getting this deprioritized plan. Then again, it's $47, right? The ability to opt in to purchase priority or mobile priority data is also not supported. Obviously, because this isn't a mobile device, it is a fixed device for a business or a family home, a residence with a non-moving address, basically. Also, when I was looking this up, I checked to see if there was any other locations that had this discount going on. And I found that Germany right now has a 50% discount on SpaceX Starlink. Now that is the kits. They don't have that deprioritized as of yet that I was able to find. And I logged in through DE or the German server just to check it out. I didn't see any of that. Maybe that's coming soon. Maybe they're just testing it currently in New Zealand because there's no one using it in New Zealand. There's a ton of excess capacity, as SpaceX Starlink calls it. There was one other thing that I found when I was reading through this, and it just happened yesterday, I think, or the day before. SpaceX Starlink was able to launch 24 Starlink satellites in the cone or in the top fairing of a Falcon 9 for the first time. Normally it's 20, 21, 22. They were able to launch 24 just the other day. That is a big deal. And that's because they are reshaping things and making things larger and making other things smaller. Matter of fact, I found Elon Musk saying on X, he said this, quote, "Due to continued design improvements, this Falcon 9 carried its highest ever payload of 17.5 tons of useful load to a useful orbit." Very interesting. Once again, they went from 20, 21, let's say SpaceX Starlink satellites, the version 2 minis in that fairing, up to 24. That, once again, is a big deal. You're looking at 3, maybe even 4 extra that are going in per launch. And that is something that we need to keep in mind here. Everything is going to get better, it's going to get faster, the latency is going to get also quicker as they introduce more and more of these version 2 mini satellites into orbit. And once SpaceX Starship actually launches and doesn't blow up and is able to get the full-size version 2s, maybe they'll call them version 3s by then, into orbit, things are going to get 4x faster. 4x the capacity, the speeds are going to get better, the latency is going to become less. This is awesome. This is really big. Now, I also heard that in March, mid-March, we're going to see the next Starship launch. This is exciting news. And I also heard there's going to be up to 9 Starships just launching in 2024. So I don't know if this cadence is going to be able to hold true to that number, but that's going to be almost 1 Starship per month throughout the rest of 2024. Can they do it? I don't know. I don't think that it's going to be an issue if SpaceX Starlink can do it or SpaceX can do it. I think it's going to be an issue if the FCC, the FAA, the wildlife, and all the rest of these people will give the clearance to Elon Musk's SpaceX. Will they? Will they not? That is going to be the bottom line. So the question is, will customers in the US be able to enjoy this lower cost SpaceX Starlink, the deprioritized version of it? Will that be a possibility in the not so distant future? I really don't know. Once again, they always test in other regions, other countries, and then they bring it into the US when it comes to pricing. But when it comes to hardware, like I said before, they test in the US and then they send overseas. So I'm going to guess overseas, being New Zealand as well as Germany, all of Europe, will probably see the version 4 dish in the not so distant future now that we see them here in the US. That is, once again, the non-articulating or the non-actuating version without motors, the one with the kickstand that we talked about. I did a whole video. Maybe I'll put a link. My question to you is, if you had the option of getting a deprioritized service for half the price, would you? Knowing what the speeds are here in the US, knowing what speeds you're currently getting, would you be able to handle, let's say, half price, maybe at half speed? Obviously, we don't know. It's always based on congestion. Will you be one of those people? Would you pay half price to get, let's say, half the service? Also, would you be interested in picking up a refurbished SpaceX Starlink unit, especially the fully articulated one, the ones that they're seeing over there in New Zealand? I know a lot of people have been asking me about that. Where can I get the motored version? I don't want to go up on the roof to change it if I ever need to. I just want to stick it up there and let it do its thing. And I get you. I feel you, because mine is up on the roof also. I don't want to go up there. I have obviously the motored version because mine is 28 months old, but it's still working. Anyways, down below in the comment area, I want to hear from you. You heard from me. Now it's your turn. Down below, let's have this discussion. And if you enjoyed this content, even at least throw it a thumbs up. Also, share it with your community. We're trying to grow this channel. Share it with Reddit, share it with your Facebook community, share it wherever you hang out. That would be very helpful. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the many years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. Also, check out my tees, check out my merch, pick something up. I would really appreciate it. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.